We're back! What was I going to say? We're back.
Welcome to another segment with Dave and myself. Holy shit, there's a sign of the times, eh?
We're back. We're ready for an attack, and we're ready to get all healthy and wealthy and all this stuff. As Dave said, welcome back. Dave and myself, we're here to show you another illustration, demonstration, something that might inspire you to think a little bit. That thinking process is a good thing to do. I know some of you don't know how to do this yet, but you're learning, which is good. All right, so today we're going to talk about grounding. You've heard a lot of things about grounding, and one of the things that grounding does is it has a way of discharging the body. Now, a lot of you are told to go outside.
Sorry. Yeah. Grounding from what?
Oh, you build up a charge.
Okay.
Because of all the fields were around.
Like you're talking smart meters, cell phone towers.
A combination of those, and even nobody's thinking in terms of nanoparticles. We're going to talk about that too, because the nanoparticles, with the more gallons there's been so much bullshit been put out about more gallons. It's a mold. It's a lime. It's whatever. And in reality, it isn't. All it is nanoparticle poisoning with a secondary or binary attack. And what happens is with this is because it depletes the body of specific elements that the body requires to maintain a health, because you're expiring this stuff, you're burning it up, then you wind up with these issues that they're talking about. The Lyme disease that the medical people are finding out is nothing but nanoparticles that are self-assembling, and they look and appear to be like the spear shits that they're talking about, but they're not. They are a completely different thing. They're nanoribbons or nanocomposites. They're coming together, and under the normal perspective, you would think it's a pathogen, a normal pathogen. We are not dealing with anything normal today. We are dealing with high levels of nanos, and they're all around us. And so as we're walking through, just walking, breathing, we are producing a charge from the aluminum, from the barium, from the mercury, from the silver, from all the different nanometals that are in these things. And so you're basically being built up or being turned into a transceiver. You are being nano-engineered. That's what's happening, okay? Nano-engineered. And it is a lot more intense and dangerous than people are fully realizing. The research a lot of people are coming up to now is only indicative of what they are reading in the last 10 years, but this has been going on for 40 years or longer. Okay, when you're in an area where you're in factories and industrial things and you're pumping out nanoparticles, you've absorbed those, you've been exposed. Now, you're building up a current in your body, or static charge, if you will. So all of a sudden you wind up with back pain, knees and joint pain, feet pain, your head, you're all over the place in the head because your cells are saturated with whatever, and you're being charged up. Now, they're telling you to go out and walk barefoot. I wouldn't suggest you do that in a city. If you're out in a rural area and you don't have power lines coming above you and a power line returning, because what happens is you're in like this, you're in a field, and you're in a coil. Power is coming in through the power lines, it's going through underneath. And so if you're walking outside, you'll actually build a charge back up or build a charge more. Now, the simplest way to ground is copper. Copper mesh. You can order this online. It's not cheap. You know, for some reason, copper's gone off the map. But if you put this, or straight aluminum, but I do both. I put 2 pieces of copper on a piece of aluminum, and then I put my feet on there and I sit down. Now, when you do this, you will find that all of a sudden every muscle, every nuance that you have, all of a sudden starts to relax. All of a sudden you just feel like you're going, ooh, kind of thing. And that takes about 5 to 15 minutes, just sitting there. And even if you're on a computer, this again allows the discharge to go through you. So this is something that you want to do on a daily basis, especially if you're on your feet all day long, you're working in a job, so you're working in a warehouse, factory, you're a carpenter, or a construction worker, whatever. Even if you're a truck driver. Truck drivers are sitting in the truck and you're moving along, you're building up the static charge in the truck. Say you're an airplane stewardess or pilot. Again, because of the microwave radiation, solar radiation, the UV radiation, and other radiation, there's 3 types of radiation in a plane. You are building a charge, especially if you're sitting in a cockpit. Cockpit is loaded with wiring and coils. So anyway, this is one thing that you can do. Again, if you don't have these materials, that's fine. Get a piece of aluminum foil, about 3 feet, cut it, put it on the floor, put your feet on it. Even if you just step on it like this, you may find a noticeable release of a buildup. All of a sudden you find yourself a lot more relaxed, a lot more clear in the head, because again, you're not building this charge up. And again, it takes about 15 minutes, give or take, sometimes 5. You'd be sitting there, just sit on a chair, take it easy, barefoot it, do your barefooting, and away you go. And as you, again, leave them on there, over like I said, 5 to 15 minute time frame, you find all of a sudden you're, see. We are not living in 1950. We're not living in 1940. We're not living in the 1800s. We're living around technology, from Dave's camera to laptops to iPads, cell phones, lights. We're living in a whole different dichotomy. And now on top of that, if you want to see how bad your air is polluted, go get yourself a green laser, a 5 megawatt laser. Turn off all the lights up in your room in a dark area. Flash the light, and you'll see the beam will fire through. It'll look like it's having a Tyndale effect from doing a colloidal silver or colloidal copper. You'll see the beams going through with all this particulate matter floating in the air. This is what we're exposed to today. Okay, this is what we're exposed to today. So there you have it, a simple little formula. It doesn't take much, doesn't cost much. Anybody can do this anywhere on the planet. If you don't have copper, no big deal. Even if you take copper wire, so you get a piece of aluminum foil or aluminum like that, and wrap some wire, maybe about 1 inch on each side. Put it down, put your feet on it. Lots of ways you can do this. This is just, again, one little window I'm showing you here. So again, this is something that you can try, this is something that you can do, and this is something that you may find beneficial for you. So, anything else, Dave?
The only question that was there is, for me, is whether or not you have to put it on some sort of special floor surface, i.e. carpeting, tile, or should it be...
This will discharge no matter where you put it on. Now, if you want to do one more thing before we go too. All right, let's say you see these 2 pieces of copper. Now, if you want to really minimize the buildup or a charge, slip them inside of your shoes with your socks on. You will find that all of a sudden it's like anti-gravity. You don't have the drag on your body like you normally do. So as a result, you can put these also inside of your shoes, and you may find you don't need to ground either, because again, you're not building up that charge because it's going through you, and your shoes are basically a ground anyway. So this is something you can try as well, and I do it all the time. I've got in my shoes here, I've got 2 pieces of copper I keep on me all the time. I wear all the time.
Where'd you even get those meshes?
You have to go online and order them.
Oh, okay.
Copper mesh kind of thing. I bought a roll here in Canada. Per usual, we get raped here. For what was it, a 4x6 or something like that? $600. US was 300. Even with the exchange, it's still a deal. Welcome to Canada, eh? Yeah. The land of the great tax. Oh yes, we got to have that tax. We got to pay that queen. You got to have that queen. Got to support that welfare family in the UK. Alrighty. Well, isn't that what it is? Well, we get welfare people here, right? So we pay our taxes, and it goes to them. Well, isn't it the same thing? That's how I equate it, and we're paying a lot of money in this country. About $500 million goes to the Bank of England. Should be staying in Canada, but anyway, that's my thinking. Okay, so more about welfare families.
And they're scraping by, right?
And they're scraping by, yes. They are so scraping by. Gold, what is it? They have a gold car, 24-karat gold car. Man, that's not bad for a welfare family, eh? And then they complain about people here having Cadillacs. Alrighty. Not to get off topic. There you go. Not hard. If you can't afford the mesh, like I said, go buy yourself some 20 gauge wire, 22 gauge wire, real thin, and wrap it up around something, and then use that as well. I find when I do it this way, I find it works better than just stepping on the aluminum. But if you can't afford this will work as well. Okay? So, before I go, see, we got a shirt here. It says, "To your health." And I'm just a guy who knows some stuff. And we also got one for you women. I'm just a gal who knows some stuff. Some stuff, eh? So these are basically, these things will start a conversation. You know, if somebody wears a shirt, says, what do you know? And you can tell them about chemtrails, or you can tell them about vaccines, which, by the way, is another way of getting nanoparticles in the body, which we'll go on to a little further. So again, you know, we're selling these shirts now. They're going for, what are they going for? I think they're going for 21 or 22 plus shipping, depending on what part of what you're calling me from, Canada or the United States. I'm trying to keep it the same at parity, so that, you know, it's not unfair one side to the other. We're trying to keep it that way as much as we can. But anyway, there we got the shirts that come in medium and large, and I had complaints about some of you women telling me you wanted the extra large shirts and double X, and I'm thinking, I never thought about the high beam part of this, but anyhow, the
high beam.
Well, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
It's like it's a shirt, you know. But anyhow, there you go. So we do have the shirts. We are displaying them. They are on the catalog link as well. You go onto the catalog link in the page. It's there. And the other thing too, a lot of you are having problems finding the recipes. They're under usually the More tab. Now, what I started doing is I started putting the recipes on my webpage. It's called YouTube Recipes. So, if you don't see the recipe in the YouTube, go to the webpage. The webpage is up in the top right corner, augmentenforce.50webs.com, and you can go there and take a look at the information that's there. At the YouTube, okay? We so far, I think I've got about 30 different recipes up so far. You got to remember, when we started this thing, we had no idea where this was going, so we weren't really that organized. And now I got to backtrack 140 videos. So anyway, give us time, and we'll slowly but surely get them all up. All right, till the next segment. To your health.